Jam lines. All right, let's go. Here we go. This is Robert. Robert, good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening. Enjoyed watching the film clip.
Yeah, interesting.
I had to say, earlier I noticed you made the comment that you thought maybe the people would rise up.
I didn't say that's what Aaron said that. It would take the people to do that.
Right. I just never felt that the people will. I think they've been cowed, they're intimidated, and they're apathetic.
Do you believe they should rise up?
I think it would be a good idea, but they'd be quashed. I don't think the government would cease for 1 minute to quash it in a violent manner. And
but rising up, I don't think necessarily means like the old Irish Revolutionary, the rising.
Right, I understand.
Yeah, I don't. That's not what I talk about.
Right.
I'm talking about like what Martin Luther King and Gandhi did. I think that people should rise up. I think they will rise up because people will not take. There's millions and millions of people in America know that there's something wrong. I heard a song the other month, and the song was titled "There's Something in the Air," but it's not on the airwaves. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much what's happening in this country. There are millions of people who are fed up with what's happening in this country, don't know where to turn, don't know what to do, and they're sick and disgusted of what's happening. And they will rise up because that's the way people do things. Well, and when you can have nonviolent marches and boycotts, see, the government cannot do anything unless we cooperate. They depend on our cooperation. Once we stop cooperating, there's nothing they can do.
Hey, if you could do it in a organized fashion, that's good. But what I think is, as soon as it got momentum, they would take control and put it down.
Well, you're a defeatist. Yeah. I don't believe that.
No, I'm a realist. I'm seeing what's going on in this country.
But one of the things that you're starting to see, for instance, on the issue of illegals, people are blowing off, okay, call me this name, call me that name, but the anger is building. And or for instance, the war in Iraq or the Bush foreign policy things, they're, in spite of people telling you that everything's okay, it's not okay. And I think that there's again, we're using the word of the awakening. I think it's more than a rising. I think it's an awakening. And one thing we know for sure, in politics, if enough people move in one direction, inevitably some politician tries to run out and lead the parade. And just look across the city through the events we've seen in the state. We have, with one or two exceptions, some terrible examples, and they're politicians. They're not statesmen.
The truth. May I say one more thing?
Sure, of course.
The truth is, the Congress has the legal authority to shut down the Federal Reserve System. If you shut down the Federal Reserve System, you have enough people demanding it, and the Federal Reserve System gets shut down, this country will return to normalcy again. That you have to cut down the head of the beast. And I believe we have the ability to close down the Federal Reserve System, and they're going to be screaming. And if you go see my movie, at the end of the movie, there's a call to action for what the American people can do to save this country from where it's heading. And I suggest you see the movie and take the call to action to heart.
This is Jack. Jack, you're up. Good evening.
What is it we can do on a local level, maybe not so much the national level? What can we do, you think, to stem this tide?
I'll tell you what I think you can do. I think anybody that's running for office, do not vote for them unless they're willing to sign an affidavit that they will vote to shut down the Federal Reserve System. Congress has the authority to do that. Anybody running for senator, anybody running for Congress in this state, do not vote for them unless they're willing to sign an affidavit saying...
But they won't. I mean, reality says they won't.
Excuse me?
I mean, reality says...
Well, if reality says they won't...
They won't.
And we can't organize enough people to make it happen, then we're going to lose. But my belief is that I can see off my website, there are thousands upon thousands of people set up on my website that want to shut down the Federal Reserve System. And a lot of times politicians want to go to churches and get the congregations to vote for them. You don't let them speak unless they want to sign that affidavit. The American people have to be heard and recognize the fact that the biggest problem this country has is the illegal Federal Reserve System, that they're running our country, that the people behind this reserve system are running this country. And until we shut that down, we're never going to succeed, because it's not Republicans and Democrats. You must shut down the Federal Reserve System.
Jack, thanks. What I was getting ready to come over and see tonight, and I'm watching. We've had a terrible tragedy, school shootings again in our state, but interspaced are all these commercials for people running for office, and 80% of them, they're attacking each other, and 20% they're promising what they're going to do. And I know most of these people.
It's all such deceit.
Yeah, it is.
It's
I mean,
deceit.
this guy says something, this
It's a
guy
joke.
attacks him, then they run the 527s where they say this, and then they attack that guy, and then they
Right.
attack this woman, and then this guy promises, and that guy promises. And I know these people. It's all hooey.
Of course it's so. You need a
Yeah.
statesman. You need people who really care,
Yeah.
who are sincere, who are honest. Sincerity is very
Yeah.
important. There's no sincerity left in politics. They'll say whatever they have to say to get into office. It doesn't mean anything, their word. Politicians will sell their soul for $1. That's the bottom line. We need to bring people into office who are sincere and honest, who care and understand the Constitution. We have a Constitution here. Live by it. And until elections are not run by the amount of money you have,
But they are.
well, they are now. I'm telling you, get rid of the Federal Reserve System, and you'll find everything in this country change.
This is Grant. Grant, you're on the show. Good evening.
Yeah, I felt for years that our country was kind of going towards fascism, or at least stronger than what like Russia was. As Russia declined and we saw their freedoms growing, we've kind of seen ours lose.
It
And we've
inverts.
lost a lot of ours. Another thing is, how can a country that goes to another country to impress freedom upon their people sit there and justify torturing citizens to get information that they are claiming to us as Americans is beneficial to us? Where does it end? I mean, next is us.
You must understand something. We did not go to Iraq to bring freedom to Iraq. We're in Iraq, and we keep talking about promoting democracy. What we're promoting is a one world government, a new world order. When they use the word democracy, take that word democracy out and put in new world order, one world order, globalization. Put in any of those words in its place of democracy. That's what it's about.
But what does
they
it-
use democracy as a spin word because you think we are a democracy and democracy equates to freedom. Democracy does not equate to freedom.
And it's the
Understand
same
that.
as the elections. It's all a spin.
Exactly. You got it.
Thank you.
it's
Let
like
me ask you this. What's the ultimate aim? And what does it look like when they get there? If what you say is true and what others say is true, and there's many, many people that believe as you believe, I'm sure you know that, what does it look like when they get there?
Well, I can tell you, I was friends with one of the Rockefeller family, okay? And they were very much behind the Federal Reserve System, the banking, the Council on Foreign Relations, and we were very good friends. And he told me that what they really want to do is have a one-world government without borders. First you have the European Union, the European Constitution,
EU.
which the European people voted down, by the way, but they're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Now they want the
then
North
they issue
American
currency.
Union. Right. Then they have the one currency. Now they want to do
They have
the
their own
North.
standing army.
Yep. But now they want a North American Union.
Yeah.
They want, and then what they want to do is bring everybody together under one.
The Amero is there.
The Amero, the currency,
Yeah, it's there. I
exactly.
didn't know it is there.
And so their plan is to have a government for the world. They want to do it through the UN, right? And have everybody on this earth implanted with an RFID chip.
Do you believe that?
I know that. Didn't you hear the congressman, the senator, asking the Supreme Court justice how he's going to rule on that in my clip? You think he asked them for no reason? They're already implanting people with chips. The national ID card, which becomes law by May 2008, it's going to have an RFID chip in it. Okay, everything is done in stages. After the RFID chip goes in the card and in your passport, it's going to go into your body. That's what they're going to try and do. There's no question about it. And they're not going to do it through law. They're going to do it because you won't be able to live without it. All your money is going to be in that chip. It's going to be a cashless society.
I mean, I've read many, many futurists who say the time of wealth will be simply wire transfers or credit transfers.
It's computer money. Look, when you go to the bank to borrow money, let's say you're borrowing $50,000 or $1 million, whatever amount of money you're borrowing, and you go to the bank to borrow the money, and they approve your loan, and they sit at a computer, and all of a sudden you have $50,000 in your bank account. Where'd that money come from? It was created out of thin air. There was no money. But now you have to work and pay them interest to these guys who made the money from nothing. You have to pay them principal and interest for the rest of your life for something that cost them nothing to make. It's slavery. It's slavery. And what they're doing, everything is going through computer chips, through debit cards.